Ever feel like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place? Picture Canada, eh? We're not talking about choosing between poutine and Nanaimo bars, but something with a tad more global weight. It's like this. Imagine your best bud and your cranky uncle both demanding your undivided attention and your allegiance. Now, amplify that by a gazillion, and you've got Canada caught in the crosshairs of a brewing superpower showdown. The question isn't just about trade deals or diplomatic niceties. It's about whether Canada can maintain its carefully crafted balancing act between the United States and China. We've always prided ourselves on our ability to navigate international waters with a certain diplomatic grace. We're the peacekeeping nation, the friendly face, the sorry sayers. But what happens when that grace is tested, when the pressure to pick a side becomes unbearable? Think of it like this. The U.S., our closest ally and biggest trading partner, is essentially saying, you're with us or you're against us, when it comes to China. And China, a rising economic giant with a voracious appetite for resources and influence, is whispering sweet nothings about lucrative opportunities and a future world order. Canada's stuck in the middle, trying to maintain its economic prosperity and national sovereignty without alienating either heavyweight. Now, enter the potential wild card, Donald Trump. Love him or hate him, his America First approach threw a wrench into established global norms. What if he, or someone with a similar ideology, were to regain power? Could they strong-arm Canada into making a definitive choice, forcing us to abandon our carefully constructed neutrality? The implications are massive, impacting everything, from our economy and foreign policy to our national identity and place in the world. This isn't just a hypothetical scenario dreamt up by political pundits. It's a real and present danger that deserves our attention. We're talking about the potential for tariffs, trade wars, and even diplomatic isolation if Canada doesn't play its cards right. It's about the future of our relationship with our most important ally and our ability to engage with a rapidly changing global landscape. So, grab a double-double and let's dive into the sticky situation we find ourselves in and explore whether Canada can truly avoid choosing sides in this high-stakes geopolitical game. Ben voyons donc, pour bien saisir l'enjeu, faut retourner un peu dans le temps, right? Puis pas juste un peu, on parle de l'après-guerre. Le Canada, après avoir fait sa part durant les conflits mondiaux, s'est retrouvé à jongler avec deux gros joueurs, les États-Unis, son voisin du Sud avec qui on partage une longue histoire et une économie entrelacée, puis l'Union soviétique, un ours pas toujours facile à flatter. On a réussi à naviguer cette guerre froide en restant proche des Américains, tout en gardant une certaine indépendance, question de pas juste dire amen à tout ce qui vient de Washington. On a développé notre propre identité, notre propre façon de voir le monde, souvent en contraste avec le modèle américain, mais là, l'histoire se répète pas exactement, mais presque. La Russie a pris le rôle de l'ours, puis la Chine est arrivée en force, une puissance économique qui fait trembler les États-Unis. Fait que le Canada se retrouve encore une fois à la croisée des chemins. Sauf que cette fois-ci, c'est pas juste une question de sécurité ou d'idéologie, c'est aussi une question de gros sous. La Chine est devenue un marché immense pour nos ressources, pour nos produits agricoles, puis on peut pas juste fermer les yeux sur ça. Nos entreprises, nos agriculteurs, ils dépendent de ces exportations. Considérez par exemple le cas du canola, un beau produit de chez nous, recherché en Chine pour faire de l'huile. Il y a eu des tensions, des blocages, puis ça a fait mal à nos producteurs. C'est un exemple concret de comment nos relations avec la Chine peuvent avoir un impact direct sur la vie des Canadiens. Fait qu'on peut pas juste se permettre de dire non à la Chine sans penser aux conséquences. Puis il faut pas oublier non plus les investissements chinois au Canada. Ils sont partout, dans les mines, dans l'immobilier, dans la technologie. C'est de l'argent qui fait rouler l'économie, qui crée des emplois, mais en même temps, ça soulève des questions sur la sécurité nationale, sur l'influence étrangère. On veut pas se retrouver à dépendre de la Chine pour notre prospérité. C'est un équilibre délicat à trouver. Alors, comment on fait pour naviguer ces eaux troubles? Comment on fait pour garder notre indépendance, pour protéger nos intérêts, sans se fâcher avec nos alliés? C'est la question à 1 million, puis il n'y a pas de réponse facile. faut faire preuve de créativité, de diplomatie, puis surtout, faut penser à long terme. On peut pas juste réagir aux pressions du moment, faut avoir une vision pour l'avenir du Canada, un avenir où on peut être à la fois ami avec les États-Unis, puis partenaire avec la Chine. C'est pas impossible, mais ça demande du doigté, puis une bonne dose de sorry quand on échappe un peu la balle. Right, so where does all this leave us, eh? We've been kicking around the idea of Canada's place in this global tug-of-war, and it's not exactly a walk in the park, is it? Reflecting on this journey so far, it's become clear that we're not just talking about trade figures and diplomatic handshakes. We're talking about the very fabric of our identity, the essence of what it means to be Canadian in a world that's getting smaller and, frankly, a little bit louder. Think of it like this. Imagine you're baking a cake, right? You've got your American ingredients, your Chinese ingredients, and you're trying to mix them all together without making a total mess. You want a cake that's uniquely Canadian, with its own flavor, its own texture, but the pressure to just dump everything in and hope for the best is pretty intense, eh? It takes skill, patience, and a whole lot of maple syrup to make it work. Now, we've seen how history tends to rhyme, not repeat. The Cold War was one thing, but this new era, it's got its own quirks, its own challenges. It's not just about military might or ideological clashes. It's about economic dominance, technological supremacy, and the battle for hearts and minds. And Canada, bless its heart, is right in the thick of it. The thing is, we can't just bury our heads in the snow and pretend it's not happening. We can't. Just rely on our reputation as nice guys to get us through. We need to be strategic, we need to be smart, and we need to be bold. We need to figure out what our core values are, what we're willing to stand up for, and what we're willing to compromise on. Because, let's be honest, there are going to be compromises. That's just the way the world works. It's like trying to navigate a canoe through rapids, eh? You gotta be nimble, you gotta be aware of your surroundings, and you gotta have a steady hand on the paddle. One wrong move and you're going over the falls. And nobody wants that. We want to keep our canoe afloat, keep our economy strong, and keep our identity intact. So, as we pivot towards the final reflection, let's keep in mind that this isn't just a theoretical exercise. This is about our future, about the kind of country we want to be. It's about whether we can maintain our independence, our sovereignty, and our ability to chart our own course in a world that's constantly trying to pull us in different directions. And that, my friends, is a challenge worth taking on. So, where does all this chin-wagging leave us, eh? We've had a good old yarn about Canada, caught like a toque in a windstorm between the big guys, the US, and China. It's not just about trade deals and tariffs, though those sure do matter. It's about something deeper, something that gets right to the heart of what it means to be Canadian, navigating a world that's changing faster than the weather in Saskatchewan. It's like being at a potluck, right? You want to bring something that everyone will enjoy, something that represents you, but you don't want to step on anyone's toes or cause a kerfuffle. You gotta be mindful of everyone's tastes, their allergies, their dietary restrictions, and in this case, the potluck is the global stage, and the dishes are our policies, our values, and our place in the world. We've always prided ourselves on being the peacekeepers, the mediators, the ones who can see both sides of the story. It's in our blood, eh? From Lester B. Pearson to our modern-day diplomats, we've always tried to bridge divides and find common ground. But this situation with the US and China, it's testing that to the limit. It's asking us to choose, to pick a favorite, and that's just not how we roll. But maybe, just maybe, there's another way. Maybe instead of choosing sides, we can carve out our own path, a path that's uniquely Canadian, a path that's based on our values of fairness, equality, and respect for all. A path that allows us to engage with both the US and China in a way that benefits all Canadians. It won't be easy, mind you. There will be bumps in the road, disagreements, and maybe even a few shouting matches. But that's okay. That's part of being Canadian. We're not afraid to speak our minds, to stand up for what we believe in, even if it means ruffling a few feathers. And let's not forget about the North, hey? The Arctic is becoming increasingly important, both strategically and economically. Canada has a responsibility to protect its sovereignty in the North, to ensure that it remains a peaceful and prosperous region. This means working with our allies, but also engaging with countries like China, who have a growing interest in the Arctic. It's a delicate balancing act, but it's one that we must get right. So, as we wrap things up, let's remember that Canada's strength lies in its diversity, its resilience, and its ability to adapt. We've faced challenges before, and we've always come out stronger on the other side. This situation with the U.S. and China is just another test, another opportunity for us to show the world what we're made of. The true practice begins now, as we navigate these tricky waters with our heads held high, our maple leaf shining bright, and a good dose of Canadian ingenuity. After all, we're not just surviving this, we're shaping the future, hey?